On this July 23rd, good morning. I'm Phil Matier.
And I'm Melissa Caen. Two of the best soccer teams in the world are getting ready to face off in the Bay Area. Today, Real Madrid will take on Manchester United at Levi's Stadium, which could also cause some major gridlock. That's because Great America is right next door. Now, usually on game days, the theme park closes, so Niners fans can use the parking lot and get out with less traffic. But not today. The park will remain open during the match, so traffic will likely come to a standstill.
Now they close the roads, even all of a sudden, because the stadium's here and they're having all these games here and stuff. It's ridiculous.
Now, Santa Clara PD and California Highway Patrol will be on hand today to help with the traffic and also security. The game starts at 2 o'clock.
And new this morning, after weeks of shifting through allegations of vote stuffing, the California Democratic Party confirms Eric Bauman as the new party chair, although it may still be controversial. Rival candidate Kimberly Ellis had submitted a number of objections over the results of the election in May, which pitted the progressive Ellis against the more establishment candidate Bauman. A special Democratic panel was convened, and they wound up invalidating 47 votes. 25 of the votes were for Bauman, 22 were for Ellis. Ellis, however, has requested an independent audit and has still not conceded the election.
And now for your stories from around the Bay. First up, an immigration crackdown may be headed for the Bay Area. The acting director of the Immigration Customs Enforcement Agency, Thomas Homan, says get ready for more ICE agents in sanctuary cities. Homan told the Washington Examiner he has the green light to hire 10,000 new immigration agents, and he plans to use them to beef up a presence in sanctuary cities like San Francisco. And second, Airbnb is under fire in Marin. This week, the Marin Board of Supervisors considered regulations for short-term rentals like Airbnb, VRBO, and Expedia. The board commissioned a study that found more than 1,200 short-term rentals in Marin, and 88% of those were for the whole home.
The only thing standing between me and living under a freeway overpass is Airbnb. That's all there is. It's as simple as that. And the more you folks can see fit to stay out of this, the better off I think we'll all be.
I'm against Airbnb. I don't want to live next to a hotel. My home is residential. I keep it residential.
Now, the board didn't take any action this week, but asked for further study and will revisit the issue in 3 to 4 months. And finally, Koreans will rally for peace. This Thursday at 4 p.m., a group called Hella Organized Bay Area Koreans, or HOBAK, will hold a demonstration at the Korean consulate in San Francisco. The group wants South Korea to sign a peace treaty with North Korea and put a stop to U.S. militarism in the region.
And in Sacramento, Governor Jerry Brown is still enjoying a victory following a high-stakes showdown over climate change. By a narrow margin, the state assembly voted to extend California's cap-and-trade program through 2030. Now, this is the program that requires companies like refineries to buy permits when they release too many greenhouse gases. The bill finally made it across the finish line with the support of one Republican senator and a handful of Republican assembly members. However, opponents still worry about the financial burden of potentially raising energy costs that could hurt all Californians. Meanwhile, I understand the Trump administration is not going to be cutting off funding for sanctuary cities?
That's right. This week, a judge ruled that that the prior injunction to stop the executive order on sanctuary cities will not be revisited. President Trump had issued an executive order against cities who refused to cooperate with federal immigration authorities, but the judge this week said it is beyond President Trump's constitutional authority to take away all federal funding.
And meanwhile, a new report shows just how many Americans could lose their health care under the Republican plan to repeal Obamacare and replace it later. The Congressional Budget Office says that 32 million Americans could become uninsured over the next decade, and 17 million of those could lose their coverage next year. It also estimates the average premiums could increase by 25%. Now, all this comes as President Trump called for the Senate Republican leaders to keep their promise and repeal and replace Obamacare.
Inaction is not an option. And frankly, I don't think we should leave town unless we have a health insurance plan, unless we can give our people great health care, because we're close.
And Republican leaders say that a health care vote could happen as early as Tuesday, although it's been shown that the leadership's projections and the rank-and-file Republican Senate is totally off in different areas.
Muni riders should expect to see some station closures starting this weekend. The agency is testing its new light rail vehicles. Technicians are checking for vibrations on the tracks. Electronic sensors are logging how smoothly the cars move above and below ground. So, starting today, Muni service between Montgomery and West Portal stations will end at 9:30 p.m. each weeknight. Muni service between West Portal and Montgomery stations will be closed on weekends. Bus shuttles will operate between Embarcadero Station and St. Francis Circle during all these closures, and additional bus shuttles will be operating between Embarcadero and Church at Dubose. New this morning, an apparent smuggling operation involving undocumented immigrants in Texas came to a tragic end. Early this morning, 8 people were found dead inside of a semi-trailer in a San Antonio Walmart parking lot. Officers say 20 more people were transported to the hospital with life-threatening injuries. It's being treated as a human trafficking crime, and the driver of the truck has been arrested.
And just west of Boston, firefighters are busy battling an 8-alarm fire in the city of Waltham. Crews say that the blaze broke out just before 4 this morning at an apartment complex that was under construction. The complex and surrounding buildings have all burned to ash. Nearby homes have been evacuated and no injuries are reported at this time.
And now we have an update on a kitten named Pallet. He's been adopted. Yesterday, we told you that Pallet was found behind some pallets inside a delivery truck that happened to be making a stop at the Humane Society's Burlingame Adoption Center. Pallet was checked out and found to be okay, and now the 2-month-old kitten is waking up today in his forever home.